We start tonight at the border shutdown, and the clock is ticking in Texas. The Lone Star State has until midnight to stop blocking federal Border Patrol agents from accessing part of the southern border.
The state of Texas is no stranger to the complexities of border security. Recently, the issue has taken a drastic turn, as new footage has emerged showing the deployment of the U.S. Army along the Texas-Mexico border. This development comes amidst a surge in illegal border crossings and a growing number of migrants seeking cover. But will these actions effectively control the surge of illegal immigrants, or will they deepen the divide on this contentious issue? Join us as we unravel new footage of U.S. Army being deployed in Texas. Number 1. The U.S. Border Patrol controversy. In recent years, lots more people have been trying to cross the border into the United States without permission. Since President Biden took office in January 2021, the U.S. Border Patrol has had to deal with over 6.3 million of these incidents. Nearly 4 million of them happened in parts of Texas that are near the border.
The Virginia National Guard recently returned from a 30-day deployment on the U.S. border with Mexico at Eagle Pass, Texas.
These numbers are worrying and have put a huge strain on the Border Patrol's resources. One big reason for all this is that there are lots of jobs in the U.S., and people from other countries want to work here. Because there are so many job openings and not enough people to fill them, some individuals think it's a good idea to come here without permission. But it's not that easy to come legally, especially for people who don't have special skills. Because of this, many people end up trying to cross the border illegally. This has become a big problem, and the governor of Texas is trying to figure out what to do about it. It's like trying to solve a tough puzzle, but finding the right solution is very important to make sure everyone stays safe and happy. Number 2. Lone Star, the secret operation. For the past 3 years, Governor Abbott has been working hard to make sure the Texas border is safe. His plan, called Operation Lone Star, is all about keeping the border secure and protecting the people of Texas. It's not just a plan, it's a symbol of how committed Governor Abbott is to keeping the border safe. From the beginning, Governor Abbott has disagreed with the federal government about who should control immigration.
We'll explore areas both north and south of that park. If we don't maintain and expand our defense.
He thinks Texas should be able to make its own decisions about who comes into the state. That's why he's spent a lot of money on Operation Lone Star. Under this plan, Governor Abbott has done a few things to make it harder for people to cross the border without permission. He's put up barriers in the water to stop people from crossing. Some people think these barriers are dangerous because they can make it hard for people to swim safely. Governor Abbott has also sent in heavily armed Marine units to patrol the river. They're there to stop anyone who tries to cross illegally. All these efforts are meant to send a clear message. If you try to enter Texas illegally, you'll be stopped. Governor Abbott wants to make sure that everyone who comes into Texas does it the right way, so that the state stays safe for everyone. Texas is really focused on keeping its borders safe. They've been making Operation Lone Star bigger, but not everyone agrees with this. Some people say that Governor Abbott is doing things that should be up to the federal government, like deciding who can come into the country. They think the U.S. Constitution says only the federal government should deal with immigration, but Governor Abbott is determined. He believes Texas should be able to protect its own borders. Now, he's taking things even further. He's announced plans to build a permanent military base camp at the border with Mexico. This camp will be there all the time, ready to help keep the border safe. Governor Abbott's actions show how serious Texas is about border security. He's not backing down, even when people disagree with him. He thinks it's important for Texas to have control over who comes into the state. Number 3. Texas's new military department base camp. This 80-acre place, as part of a big effort by the state, is going to be home to around 2,300 National Guard soldiers. Their job is to make sure the border is safe and to stop people from crossing it illegally. Governor Abbott knows that the resources they have now aren't enough, so he's come up with a plan to build a special base near the border for the National Guard. It's called a forward operating base, which is like a main spot for the military to do their work in a specific area. These bases are usually set up in places that are far away or dangerous to help the military do their jobs better. For Texas, this base will be a big help for the National Guard soldiers. It will be like their main office, where they can plan what to do and get the things they need to do it. Governor Abbott thinks having this base will make a big difference in stopping people from coming into Texas illegally. He wants everyone to know that Texas won't allow illegal immigration, and having more soldiers at the border will help with that. This decision to build a base is different from what they've done before. Instead of just sending soldiers to the border for a short time, Governor Abbott wants them to stay there longer. This way, they can keep working on making the border safer and stop people from crossing illegally. Building this base won't be easy. It will take a lot of money and planning, and different parts of the government will need to work together. But Governor Abbott says Texas is ready to do whatever it takes to keep the border safe and protect the people who live there. This big announcement is the latest in the ongoing fight between the White House and Texans about immigration. Governor Abbott's decision is bold and shows how serious he is about keeping the border safe. It also challenges the federal government's power. As they start building the military base camp in Eagle Pass, which is like the heart of Governor Abbott's fight on immigration, people in the community are shocked. They didn't know about this project until recently, not even the local leaders. Eagle Pass has already seen big changes because Texas took over Shelby Park from the federal government. Now, with a military base camp coming up, people are wondering who has more power, Texas or the federal government. This could lead to another big fight in court, as Governor Abbott argues that Texas should be able to control its own border. As they start building the base, there are a lot of questions. Will it really make the border safer? And will it stop people from crossing illegally? These are important questions because they get to the heart of why people cross the border illegally in the first place. Number 4. Illegal immigrants arrested. Governor Abbott's recent actions regarding the border situation are stirring up more trouble between Texas and the Biden administration. As part of Operation Lone Star, Texas has said no to letting Border Patrol agents into Shelby Park and Eagle Pass, a park next to the U.S.-Mexico border. This decision has made a lot of people angry and made the disagreement between Texas and the federal government even worse. Shelby Park is a beautiful park in Eagle Pass, Texas, right by the border. Its location near the Rio Grande River makes it really important to keep an eye on people crossing the border illegally. But why is this park causing so much trouble? Governor Abbott says he's tired of seeing more and more people crossing illegally through Eagle Pass, and the federal government not doing enough about it. He says Texas has had enough and won't allow it anymore. That's why they put up a fence around Shelby Park to stop Border Patrol agents from coming in. This decision has made things even tenser between Texas and the federal government. It's like a big argument where neither side wants to back down. And Shelby Park, a peaceful place where people used to go for fun, has become the center of all this trouble. The Justice Department quickly responded to Texas's actions by asking the U.S. Supreme Court to make Texas let Border Patrol agents back into Shelby Park. But, as of now, the court hasn't decided what to do. The argument over Shelby Park got even more intense when U.S. Representative Henry Cuellar accused Texas of stopping Border Patrol agents from doing their jobs. He said that 3 people, including 2 kids, tragically drowned near Eagle Pass, and he blamed Texas for not letting Border Patrol agents save them. But the Texas Military Department said that's not true at all. They said that Mexican authorities had already found 2 of the bodies before Border Patrol agents even asked to go into Shelby Park. They also said that Border Patrol agents wanted to go into the park to find 2 other people who were with the victims. In a legal document to the Supreme Court, the Justice Department said that even if they couldn't find the victims, Border Patrol agents could have helped Mexican authorities if they were allowed into Shelby Park. The different stories about what happened have made the disagreement between Texas and the federal government even worse. This whole situation shows how complicated things can get when different governments can't agree. The Supreme Court will have to decide who is right and what should happen next. Texas officials have said that Border Patrol agents had reduced their presence in the area more than 2 months before the incident. This makes people wonder how well federal and state agencies are working together to deal with the border issues. In December 2023, Governor Abbott signed a bill that will start in March 2024. This bill, Senate Bill 3, will use $1.54 billion in state money to keep building barriers along the 200-mile border.
The new controversial border security law just signed by Governor Greg Abbott within the last hour. It'll soon be a state crime for migrants to cross into Texas illegally.
This money will add to the $1.5 billion that the state has already spent since September 2021. With this funding, about 40 miles of steel barriers will be built in Starr, Cameron, Val Verde, and Webb counties. This shows that Texas is serious about securing its border, They're using a lot of money to build barriers to stop people from crossing illegally. It also raises questions about how well the federal government and Texas are working together to solve the border problems. The battle over border barriers continues even after Senate Bill 3. Governor Abbott is also allowing the state to spend up to $40 million for state troopers to patrol Colony Ridge, a housing development near Houston. This area has been called a magnet for undocumented immigrants by certain publications. This proactive approach to law enforcement is meant to help people in Texas feel safer. Many Texas residents have felt the effects of illegal immigration in their communities. Governor Abbott also signed Senate Bill 4, which is a big step for Texas in taking control of immigration enforcement.
Today, protesters from around the country flocked to a small Texas border town to vent frustration over illegal immigration.
Usually a job for the federal government. Under this new law, crossing the Texas-Mexico border between official entry points is now a Class B misdemeanor. This means people could go to jail for up to 6 months. Crossing into Texas illegally from Mexico is also a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 180 days in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. Repeat offenders could face even harsher penalties. A second offense is considered a second-degree felony, which could mean 2 to 20 years in prison. This shows that Texas is serious about stopping illegal border crossings and wants to make it clear that it's a serious crime. The new law gives the police the power to arrest people they think crossed the border illegally, even if they didn't do it at an official entry point. This is a big change in how the state and federal governments handle immigration rules. But as soon as the law was passed, it got a lot of criticism from different groups. Democratic lawmakers, the Mexican government, and advocacy groups like the ACLU were worried about what this law could mean. They said it might take away people's rights and the fair process they should get in the immigration system. The ACLU, which speaks up for people's rights, didn't waste any time. They quickly took the state of Texas to court. They said the new law is against the rules because it's the federal government's job to make the immigration rules, not the states. They also said the law could stop people from being able to fight being sent back to their home countries or from asking for help if they need it. The legal challenge has set the stage for a big legal fight between civil rights groups and the Texas government. This lawsuit could have a big impact on how the new law is used and on future immigration rules in Texas. In the past, federal courts, including the U.S. Supreme Court, have said that only the federal government can make and enforce immigration laws. But some Republicans in Texas are hopeful that this new law will lead to a big legal showdown in front of a more conservative Supreme Court. This is because former President Donald Trump appointed 3 new justices to the Supreme Court during his time in office. The effects of Senate Bill 4 go beyond just the legal side. The law says that a judge can drop charges against a migrant if they agrees to go back to Mexico voluntarily. This raises concerns about whether migrants might feel pressured to agree, especially if they're trying to escape dangerous situations in their home countries. It also raises worries about how this might affect vulnerable groups, like children and families. U.S. Representative Joaquin Castro and other Democrats in Congress are asking the U.S. Department of Justice to step in and sue Texas. They want to stop the new law from happening. They say it's the job of the federal government to make decisions about immigration and foreign policy, and they think the law goes against the Constitution. But Governor Abbott is standing by the law. He says Texas needs to protect itself from drug gangs and criminals who take advantage of the border. He blames the Biden administration's immigration rules for making things worse. Drugs like cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine are coming in through Texas, and it's causing a lot of problems. These drugs aren't just staying at the border, they're spreading all over the country. They're even making the opioid crisis worse and causing more violence in communities. But it's not just drugs that are a problem. Human trafficking is also a big concern. Criminal groups are tricking and forcing vulnerable people, including women and kids, into terrible situations. They're treating them really badly and making them do things they don't want to do. It's like modern-day slavery, and it's just awful. That's why it's so important for the police to stop these criminals and protect the people they're hurting. The Texas government has been trying to deal with all these problems for a long time, but it's been really tough. The crisis is just too big, and they don't have enough resources or people to handle it all. They're doing their best, but they need more help to make things better. So it's clear that the situation at the border is really serious. There are a lot of people trying to get in illegally, and along with them come drugs and dangerous criminals. It's causing problems not just at the border, but all over the country. That's why it's so important for everyone to work together to fix this problem and keep everyone safe. Texas has asked for help from other states, and that's where Governor Eric Holcomb and the Indiana National Guard come in. Since President Biden took office, there have been a lot of people coming to the United States. This has caused problems and made a lot of people upset. Countries like Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Cuba have had a hard time. There have been economic problems and natural disasters that have made life very difficult for people there. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic made things even worse. Many people felt like they had no choice but to leave their countries and try to find a better life somewhere else. They were struggling to survive and take care of their families, and things seemed hopeless. On top of all this, there were gangs and violence making things even more dangerous. Life became unbearable for many people, and they decided to leave their homes in search of safety and opportunity. In response to this crisis, Texas asked for help from other states. Governor Holcomb of Indiana agreed to send the Indiana National Guard to Texas. Their job is to help keep things under control and protect people in Texas. This situation shows how difficult life can be for some people. When things are really bad in your country and you can't see a way to make things better, you might feel like you have to leave. It's a tough decision, but sometimes it's the only choice people have. Governor Holcomb and the Indiana National Guard are stepping in to help. But the problems in these countries won't go away overnight. It will take a lot of work and cooperation to find long-term solutions that help everyone. In this situation, more and more people are deciding to take a dangerous journey to the United States. They are looking for safety, stability, and a better life. President Biden wanted to make a plan to give legal status to many people who are already in the U.S. without permission. However, not enough people from both political parties agreed with his plan. Some people who don't agree with President Biden think that his plan made more people want to come to the U.S. They think that because they see the U.S. as being more welcoming to immigrants now, more people are deciding to make the journey. President Biden has told people, especially those seeking asylum, not to try to come to the U.S. without permission. He said, "If you're trying to leave Cuba, Nicaragua, or Haiti, and you have agreed to begin a journey to America, do not just show up at the border. Stay where you are and apply legally from there starting today." Even though he has tried to tell people not to come illegally, more and more people are still trying to come. This situation is difficult because many people are leaving their homes in search of a better life. They are willing to take big risks to find safety and stability. President Biden's plan to help some undocumented people in the U.S. did not go as planned, and now some people think it has made the situation worse. He thinks the government isn't doing enough to stop people from crossing the border illegally. The new law, Senate Bill 4, has started a big argument about who should have more power, states like Texas or the federal government. People are also talking about what this means for migrants and whether making crossing the border illegally a crime will help. As the law starts being used and people argue about it, it's going to change how immigration works in Texas and maybe in other places too. It's a big deal for places like Indiana too. Indiana is known for its values and how people stick together, so when it made its decision about this issue, it surprised a lot of people. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb has made a big decision. He announced that Indiana would send its National Guard members to Texas. Why? Because Texas asked for help. The southern border of Texas has a big problem. It's facing a crisis that's getting worse and worse. Texas Governor Greg Abbott asked nearby states for help. He knew things were serious, so when he called for help, Governor Holcomb decided to send Indiana's National Guard members to Texas. Why? Because Texas needs help to make things better at the border. It's important to keep both Texans and migrants safe. Sending the National Guard from Indiana will give Texas a hand. They'll work with Texas law enforcement. They'll help keep an eye on things, provide support with all the planning, and help manage the migrants. Having them around will take some pressure off and make things run smoother during this tough time. So, Governor Holcomb's decision is a big deal. It shows that states help each other out when there's trouble. It's like when your friend needs a hand with their homework, you step in to help. That's what Indiana is doing for Texas. They're lending a hand to make things better at the border. Governor Holcomb made a big choice. He decided to send the Indiana National Guard to Texas. Why? Because he's worried that the federal government isn't doing enough to enforce immigration laws and keep the country's border safe. He thinks this puts not only national security at risk, but also the economic security of every state. Indiana has been working hard to fight against drugs. But the problem is, drugs are still coming into the country through the open border. This makes it hard to stop the drug epidemic, even if Indiana is doing its best. Just the other day, the governor went to Texas with 13 other governors. They talked about what was going on at the border. The governor said that if we don't make the border safe, it's not just Texas that's in trouble, it's all of us. He believes that having troops there will help stop drugs from coming into the U.S. This isn't the first time Indiana's National Guard has been asked to help at the southern border. From October 2020 to October 2023, 300 soldiers from Indiana have been there for different missions. They showed how ready and dedicated they are to help the Texas National Guard keep the border secure. Governor Holcomb's decision shows how states work together to solve big problems. Even though the border crisis is hitting Texas the hardest, it's something that affects the whole country. By sending help, Indiana is showing that it cares about the safety and security of everyone in America. It's like when your friend needs a hand with something tough. You step in to help because you're all in it together. So Governor Holcomb's choice is a big deal. It's about more than just sending troops to Texas. It's about showing that states stand together to tackle tough challenges and keep everyone safe. Number 5, the growing tension at the border. In recent years, the southern border of the United States has faced some big problems. Lots of people have been trying to cross it illegally. Some are looking for a safer and better life, while others are running away from dangerous situations. But this has made things really hard for the Border Patrol agents. They're struggling to keep everything under control because there are just too many people coming in. Along with all these people, drug smugglers and human traffickers are also causing trouble. They're taking advantage of the border's weak spots to bring drugs into the country. Texas, especially, is facing a lot of this. Despite efforts to discourage illegal crossings, the number of people trying to enter the U.S. without permission continues to go up. It's a complex issue that will need careful attention and cooperation to find a solution that works for everyone. U.S. officials are now seeing a rapid increase in the number of encounters with migrants. They're expecting to reach over 2 million encounters in the fiscal year that started in October. This is the quickest it's happened in over 20 years. Just in May 2022, there were about 239,000 arrests made at the border, which is 2% more than in April. But it's not just grown-ups looking for a better life. There are also many more children crossing the border. As we look at the challenges at the Mexico border, one big issue stands out: Title 42. This policy started during the Trump administration because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It lets officials quickly send migrants back because of worries about the virus spreading. Title 42 got its name from a part of the U.S. law. Its goal was to stop COVID-19 from spreading in places where migrants are held. Under this policy, almost all migrants without documents who tried to come in were sent back right away, skipping the usual immigration laws and protections. Even though some people didn't like it, the Biden administration kept Title 42 at first because of health worries. But after keeping it going for a while, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, decided to end it on May 23rd. They said the COVID-19 situation in the U.S. had gotten better, so the policy wasn't needed anymore. Stopping Title 42 had a big effect on the situation at the border. It made lots of people hurry to the U.S.-Mexico border, with around 10,000 people crossing every day. This is the highest it's ever been recorded. As more and more people come, they're setting up makeshift camps along the border. This is making things even harder for both the people coming and the officials trying to help them. When the policy ended, around 42% of all the migrants they met, adding up to 10,699 people, were sent back home. Overall, more than 1.8 million people have been sent back under Title 42. With so many people coming in during President Biden's time in charge, it's made things tough for the immigration system. This has made people wonder if the current rules are working. As the numbers keep going up, it's clear this is a big problem with lots of sides to it. We need to really think about it and come up with good answers. As more and more people come, there are now too many in detention centers, and it's hard to deal with all the problems that come with so many people. Groups that help people and local governments are getting ready for even more people needing help. The Biden team has made some new rules to try to deal with the situation, but there are still a lot of legal problems ahead. We really need to change how immigration works to make things better for everyone. Do you believe that Texas's tough choices about migration will reduce the number of people coming into the United States illegally from Mexico? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.